Happy Monstering! And welcome to another episode of My Singing Monsters Live, your one-stop shop for everything to do with My Singing Monsters. We are your hosts, Monster Handler Matt.
And Monster Handler Eric. What a week this week in the
I
Monster.
know, and Eric, you know what? I think we might be making My Singing Monsters Live history, where you and I have been the co-hosts for 3 weeks in a row,
Wow.
and it shows no sign of stopping.
That's the work from home.
Yes, this power dynamic is working really well, I think, for the two of us. So, as you said, it's been an exceptionally exciting week in My Singing Monsters and My Singing Monsters Dawn of Fire. But before we get to all of those nitty-gritty details, we want you to know all about the giveaway, because every episode of My Singing Monsters Live, we do a giveaway. And this episode, number 74, is no different. Eric, would you like to explain to all the nice people at home how exactly the giveaway works here on My Singing Monsters Live?
Thank you, Matt. I would. All you have to do is type !giveaway into the chat. At the end of the episode, we will draw a name. If it's your name on YouTube, please enter your BBB ID /friend code into the chat, and you could win this week's amazing prize, which is a secret, like it is every week.
Always a secret. Oh, I liked you were building in a crescendo there, Eric, and then right until the big reveal and then the big switcheroo. Speaking of switcheroos, there's lots of exciting things happening this week. A lot of people guessed at certain things. A lot of people had suspicions. And for those of you who were paying close attention to our social media channels the last couple of days, you knew that we were building towards something exciting. And we'll get to that in just a second. Because the first thing we have to do, see, I tried to do what you did, Eric. The first thing we have to do is take a look back at Monster World history and see what happened on this day. Now, this is an unusual episode, of course, because it's on a Thursday. We have tomorrow off as a holiday, which is why we're doing this episode today of My Singing Monsters Live.
I get to stay home tomorrow.
That's right, a day. Very, yes. Oh, the appeal of that is mixed. Yeah, exactly. Oh, Eric, by the way, I like your shirt. Very
thank
exciting, you. Very apt choice, fashion choice for today. Okay. Back on track. So on this day, all the way back in 2015, the rare Bogart. So I should mention on this day, I switched it up a little bit only because I took into account both April 9th and April 10th because tomorrow would have been the show, but we're doing the show today. So in 2015, the rare Bogart was available for the very first time. A very exciting triple element rare, most closely aligned with the element of cold. Very interesting. And then later in 2019, during Extravaganza last year, the Epic Scups was available for the very first time. Epic Scups, definitely part of the red herrings built in to our Following the Trail series. We thought we had something there, and then it turned out to be a complete bust. We thought maybe that was the horned creature that was mentioned in Mysteries of the Living Ocean, but it just ended up being Epic Scups instead. That's what Rare Geo saw. And then later, well, not later, around the same time in Dawn of Fire in 2019 as well, the Incisor, the quad element fire hybrid Incisor available. Very interesting that it should come out this week last year because, of course, some more teeth and bone-related things happened this week. And, of course, I am talking about and transitioning to what's going on this week in My Singing Monsters. We had the third magical island unearthed for the very first time. That is, of course, Bone Island, the Thonic Bone Island. Great adjective, Thonic. It means subterranean and deep beneath the earth and has sort of like an underworldy quality to it as well. So lots of awesome bone elementals on that island, as well, of course, as fan favorite fire hybrid Thrumble, making its My Singing Monsters debut. It's been around in Dawn of Fire for a while, but now it has its day in the sun, but not really because it's underground in My Singing Monsters. Additionally, we also, for the first time, unveiled the Glubber Lagoon skin for Water Island. Yes, the fifth and final of the Natural Island Titan-themed island skins. At least those are the 5 that we know about. So yes, the fifth and final of those, Glubber Lagoon. Lots of questions about what Glubbers are and what's going on with that. Don't worry, we'll get to that later in the program, because first thing we need to talk about, of course, is also our Go With The Flow promotion, in which Epic Blabbit and all Water Island rares and epics are available to buy or breed on their respective islands. So that means that not only are they available to buy or breed on Water Island if they're from Water Island, and this includes, I should mention, all natural Water Island rares and epics, because Rare Geode already had its moment last weekend with the Rat Hair Day promotion. Epic Blabbit finally joining us for the extravaganza festivities, and you can also get up to 100% more in currency packs. That includes diamonds, that includes coins and treats and keys. So now's the time to stock up if you're looking to get some sweet currency. Speaking of stocking up, you can also get 3 times more in the offer walls in My Singing Monsters, the coins, diamonds, and treats offer walls this weekend. So if you're hard up for any sort of currency, now's the time to stock up. And of course, you're going to want to, because you're going to want to explore all that Bone Island has to offer. And of course, it's bittersweet, but this weekend, because it's actually going to be Easter here in the human world, is the last weekend of extravaganza, and so it's going to be your last weekend to fire breed Blabbit. It's going to be your last weekend to collect those extravaganza themed decorations, both the obstacle decorations and the animated decorations, and it's going to be your final weekend for the Up to Scratch promotion as well. Now, I should mention that this is an extra long weekend that begins now and goes until Tuesday. So you've got more than an average weekend to take advantage of all this content. And this is true of Dawn of Fire as well. Let's hop over to Dawn of Fire. In Dawn of Fire, the prismatic thumpies available for the first time. Now, something very interesting about these prismatics is that, at least based on my monster handler research, it would appear that these monsters are not actually warped by the environment of beyond the Prism Gate, but actually represent diverse Thumpy species that actually hail from the Thumpyverse. So obviously the dimensional potential of the Prism Gate is heretofore unknown and untapped if it's able to open up gates all the way through to other dimensions of the multiverse. And we've got classic Thumpies in there, like Flute and like Mosh, and a bunch of new Thumpy subspecies that we've never seen before. So very, very cool stuff there. Also, all previously released prismatics are available to buy, not to buy or breed, but to collect. Oh, I was on autopilot there for a second. I'm just so excited. All the prismatics of Dawn of Fire that have previously been discovered are available in the Prism Gate on all of the outer islands. That's Party Island, that's Space Island, that's Cloud Island, that's Cave Island, and there are many to collect across those 4 outer islands. So if you missed one during their past releases, now's the time to check them out. Additionally, we've got 50% off all Cave Island monsters on Cave Island.
Interesting.
What relationship could Cave Island have to what's going on?
Very curious.
Maybe we'll tackle that later in the show. Additionally, we've got 75 to 100% more in currency packs in Dawn of Fire as part of our Easter special offers. The more you get, the better the value, and you can get 2 times more in Dawn of Fire offer walls as well, both the diamonds and the coins offer walls. Phew! Ooh. All right, that's a lot of stuff that's going on this weekend, so make sure that you're logging in regularly to taking full advantage of all the awesome limited content that's available to you. And before we launch into part of the segment we like to call Quick Questions, which is not happening right now, Monster Handler Michael, who's operating our behind the scenes, said, "Oh, let's take an opportunity to say, everyone say hi to Michael, and
hi,
everyone
Michael.
say hi to Monster Handler Sydney, who is, as she always is, doing an excellent job moderating the chat." So, before we launch into Quick Questions, Monster Handler Eric, you had some findings, some insights that you wanted to share about not the most recent video that came out, but our earlier Extravaganza 2020 video.
That's right. In the spirit of answering questions, I've been gathering up inquiries to this old video, and some answers may have come to light as of recently.
That had previously eluded us, but that now are shining in the sun. All right, take it away, Eric.
So, why don't we pull up the first image here? And I have a question for the community. Did you notice that when Blabbit was hopping over this rocky head. You may have been chuckling at its expression, but did that distract you from the fact that the ground and the sky were changing? There's a slight transition towards the right side. Now, where could that be? Well, if we pull up the second image, you'll see the infamous jellyfish-like critter swimming around blabbing. And what the sky and the ground here? This appears to be not Water Island at all, but a whole new area, which we now know as Glubber Lagoon. It seems that the fish critter, the entire time, was just trying to tell Blabbit, look around. Look around you, dude. He saw the word Glubber, and he said, take a gander. You're on it. On. I never saw anyone in the community comment on that.
Never, not seeing the forest for the trees right there, Eric.
Right. And then we've got one final image here, just because I know a lot of people were studying the last image with the TV and all of the notes on the walls. I've illustrated here, if you followed these strings that were going from paper to paper, you can see that all of the island screen critters were connected to the, as far as I know, unnamed jellyfish critter as of right now. You can also see that the paintbrush icon representing island skins was connected to a picture of Water Island with some Glubber-like details drawn on. And you can also see at the very top of the screen the words Glubber and Lagoon in monstrous connected. The word reef is crossed out because in a fun Easter egg during development, the name was switched from Glubber Reef to Glubber Lagoon. I had already had this graphic made, so as a fun little Easter egg, I had Blabbit cross out reef and put Lagoon instead.
Oh, Eric, you rascally dog. Always hiding. And there's no better time for Easter eggs than, of course, this time of year during extravaganza.
Did you notice these things? If you did, good for you. You're a super sleuth.
And if not, we always like to take up the answers at the end and sort of show you how clever we are.
And with that, of course, why don't we answer other questions?
Oh, I think that's a great idea, Eric. So you're going to ask the questions. I'm going to answer them in a segment we like to call Quick Questions. And some of these questions have some extra material to show you today. So very exciting. All right, launch right in there, Eric.
All right, we have a couple here that go together right off the hop. Explorer Monster asks, why is it called Glubber Lagoon if there are no visible Glubbers? Similarly, Ziggurat asks, was Party Island a Glubber, or was it a different creature of some sort? Could you clear this up, Monster Handler Matt?
Oh, I'm very happy to, Monster Handler Eric. So, for a long time now, the community has been operating under the belief, shall we say, that the creature that Party Island during the era of Dawn of Fire that it was sitting on was a Glubber. Yes, and also no. Some of the research that we compiled as monster handlers indicate that this titanic creature actually goes through several different phases during its life cycle. Michael, if you haven't already, can you please bring up the accompanying graphic? Perfect. So, I'm happy to report that everyone was correct in some way, because the creature from Party Island and what we now know is the Glubber of the Glubber Lagoon island skin are one and the same. They just represent different phases of the same creature. So every Glubber begins life as a massive creature called a glubpole, which is sort of like a tadpole, but it's not. It's a glubpole. It is a Leviathan creature. For those of you who are interested in detail, it's worth noting in the Mysteries of the Living Ocean excerpt that there was mention of deep sea Leviathans. And does that look like a deep sea creature to you? No, it's floating on the surface. That is how glubpoles live. They live at the surface of the water. Later, as they begin to develop into glublets, which is sort of a takeoff on froglets, that's when the creature grows in size and it begins to grow flippers and fins and starts to dive deeper into what will eventually be its resting habitat as an adult. And it's worth noting that if you pay close attention in the Glubber Lagoon skin, you can see this immature form of the glublet actually swimming around in the background. So obviously a good parent, the Glubber Titan. And then, of course, its fully realized adult form is the Glubber. And that's actually what the Glubber Lagoon Titan skin represents. It's sort of this fishy, froggy hybrid, but it's got those cool bivalve shells up top. And of course, one of the greatest gifts that it can impart to monster residents that choose to live on top of its head is the gift of glub. What that is exactly, we're still trying to figure it out, but we do know that you never look a gift glubber in the mouth, and so you always get those gifts when they are given to you. So everyone was sort of right in the sense that it was also a glubber back on Party Island, but the true finalized form of the glubber is the actual Titan head that you can see on the brand new Water Island skin. So
amazing.
There you go. Yes, that's what our monster handler research has gleaned.
Wow, that's a lot of information all in 1 week. That's amazing.
I know, isn't it exciting, Eric?
Okay, well then let's push right on with these glubber questions, because there's a million. At Sunshine Karki asks, so is this glubber a Titan? Is this the same glubber that Party Island rested upon?
Sunshine Karki, yes. The glubber is classified as a Titan. It's not a colossal, it is a Titan. And something very exciting, our research indicates that the glub pole that Party Island was poised on top of actually grew up to be the one and the same glubber that we see in the Glubber Lagoon Island skin. Wow. Isn't that nice? It's the same creature. It's sort of like how the T-Rex in Jurassic Park ended up being the T-Rex that was in Jurassic World. Oh, you gotta love that. Gotta love that brand continuity, that through line. Oh, it's a beautiful thing.
It's interesting that you brought that up because this is not confirmed anywhere, but it's my headcanon. The Stog from the Bone Island video is in fact Zinap. Many months ago, the Firehaven reveal on My Sing Monsters Live.
You know what? I don't think that there's any way to disprove it.
There is not.
So there you go, Eric. If you can build more evidence to support your claim, then I invite you to do so.
Did you guys say Stog?
Yes, Zinap the Stog.
Yes.
Wow.
So,
continue.
What's next?
At Logan Peters 89 asks, what are the shadows that are seen swimming on Glubber Lagoon? Do they belong to more Titan-sized creatures like the Glubber?
Well, Logan Peters, if you were paying attention not 2 minutes ago, you would know that those are glublets, the intermediary form between the glub pole and the full-grown glubber. So yes, they are not like the glubber. They are in fact glubbers.
Shebaz27 asks, what is the jellyfish monster? I believe referring to the critter.
I think you're absolutely right, Eric. So with the reveal of the Glubber Lagoon island skin for Water Island, many members of the community had correctly guessed that this was the critter that was associated with the Glubber Lagoon ecosystem. We don't yet have a name for it. Michael, if you could please. Okay, perfect. We don't yet have a name for this critter, as is often the case with our other critters. They sort of have eluded any sort of formal classification, but who knows? If you have a good idea for what this critter might be called, please let us know in the chat, or maybe include it in a future Monsterpiece when you're doing some artwork of it. But what we do know about this critter is that it has forged an immediate lifelong friendship with the Water Island seasonal Blabbit. And as you can see on the new loading screen, there they are floating off together, perhaps to share stories or plan what might be up for next year's extravaganza, as this year's extravaganza winds to a close.
Well, I know it was a little confusing in the Easter video, the extravaganza video, if you will, because obviously we can't speak every monster language, but from my best guess, the critter was trying to be very helpful. It was just the initial question that Blabbit was asking was, do you know of the giant shape that blocked the camp? And the critter had to say, oh, I might know something about that, but it might not be what you think it is. And
exactly.
Blabbit said, rats. And then the critter saw on the paper. He saw on the paper it said Glubber. And he said, oh, Glubber. No, that I know about. And that's when he said, look around you, dude.
And that's why Blabbit was sort of like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about, my gelatinous friend? And then that critter was going, you're on the Glubber. You're on the Glubber. So
amazing.
A happy ending for everyone as far as I'm concerned.
Long-lasting friendship.
Yes.
Swimmer for life. Well, speaking of swimmers, asks, can the clam produce monster-fied pearls?
I think so. Right now, the castle rests sort of in the largest of the bivalve shells of those clams. I think hiding inside, though, is a more non-corporeal, intangible treasure, the gift of glub. Not really sure exactly what that is yet, but I'm sure that they could produce pearls. We do know of another creature, another monster actually, on Water Island that can produce pearls, and that is the rare shellbeat. Its special shell can produce very valuable pearls. So perhaps glubbers can on their shells as well. I'm not sure.
Now, Monster Handler Matt, I know you said a couple times you don't know what exactly the gift of glub is, but Shadow Monkey 1224 asks, what exactly is the gift of glub?
Now, Shadow Monkey, we don't know for sure, but you know what I think is interesting? It's sort of like a mirror of Erised sort of thing. I think the gift of glub is different for every single person that it gets bequeathed to. So if I really wanted to be able to breathe underwater, the gift of glub that the glubber might bestow upon me is the ability to breathe underwater. Or if someone else really wanted all of their socks, their missing partners to be matched and folded neatly organized in their drawer.
Or maybe if they were looking for a bone behind a couple of wordos.
Oh, if they were looking for a bone behind a couple of wordos, yes. And anything that your little heart desires, perhaps the gift of glub can reward you. But some more research is required.
Ooh, all right. This is an exciting next question from Starburst Clown. Now that we know where the glubbers are we closer to discovering what happened to Party Island?
The fate of Party Island, like all of the outer islands in Dawn of Fire, is still unknown to us. Certainly the appearance of the Prism Gate on those outer islands recently doesn't seem to be an accident. The fact that those are only available on the outer islands, some connections could be drawn between those two. But as to what specifically happens to Party Island, I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure.
Well, maybe you'll have some more info on this next question.
We do know that. Oh, sorry. I was just going to say that we do know that glubbers are exceptionally long-lived, as is true of all titans. Mm-hmm. So we could try and perhaps have a little bit of an interview with the glubber of Glubber Lagoon. But as you mentioned earlier, we don't necessarily know all Monster World dialects, or maybe it's sort of speaking at such a slow rate that it would take us most of our human lives in order to receive that message. So who knows?
Very interesting. Some hard-hitting investigative journalism coming up next from, I believe it's Jack Olive 4. Why it looks so cool.
Oh, Jack, thank you very much for the compliment. Yes, we have some very talented artist monster handlers here at Big Blue Bubble, and they are responsible for everything looking as awesome as it does. So all the credit can be given to them.
All right, moving on. We still got a million questions, Monster Handler Matt. This is a very informative.
Well, it's a big episode, and it's right before Easter, so we might as well. There's lots to talk about. All right, keep them coming, Eric.
Moving into the bone realm here from JJ Sponge 120. Is it true that Bone Island is where Cave Island used to be?
Oh, JJ Sponge, we can't pull any fast ones on you. Yes. That is the relationship that exists between this magical island and its outer island partner back during the era of Dawn of Fire. Much like Psychic Island is related to Space Island and Fairy Island is related to Cloud. Yes, Cave Island became, when it sort of blipped out of existence in the void left behind in the massive underground cavern, that is where the Necral Titan of Bone Island moved in. A very unusual Titan. Not sure as to its actual state of being. Is it alive? Is it undead? We're not entirely sure. But there is activity. There is some activity there in the island. So the Necral Titan is not totally kaput. There's still stuff going on there. But of course, as is the theme of this episode, more research is required to identify the true nature of the Necral Titan.
I really enjoy that imagery of it moving in. Cave Island is there, blip, and then in comes Necral. Oh,
yeah, so we don't know exactly when that move in happened. I assume that some time elapsed between the boop, nothing being there,
and then yeah, this'll do.
Exactly. Whoop, my hat. All right. What's
the questions are blowing the hat right off your head. Next up, we have $5 Note, who asks, "How did you come up with the art design Bone Island?"
Well, we were trying to decide what new magical element we could have that complemented both psychic and fairy. And in continuing the magical theme, bone elementals are a combination of creepy, kooky, bizarre, out of this world. Are they living? Are they dead? Sort of. Internally conflicting ideas. So, Monster Handler, Michael, if you could bring up some of the awesome concept art. So, here are some of the early sketches that you can see of what later became several Bone Island monsters. It was important for us because we had a couple of monsters already in My Singing Monsters that sort of were holding down the Bone Fort, so to speak. Monsters like Punkleton, monsters like Voodoo, monsters like Bon Appetit. None of which actually have the magical element of bone, but are fairly bone-like in their countenance, in their appearance. It was important for us to sort of explore what different new cool things we could do with bone, and how they could be incorporated as different body parts. And of course, as is true of the magical islands in general, we also went hunting for some new sounds that had never been heard before on certain islands. The decision to create our resident bone elemental single element monster Clacula was based on the fact that as we were coming up with new sounds for the different monsters on Bone Island, that's the one from a sound perspective that seemed the most like it was bones striking each other. And sort of the designs of the various monsters followed thereafter. So I don't know, Michael, if you've been going through looking at. Okay, perfect. Yes, several of the monsters that we now know and love, like Denchas, like Plinkaju, and Banja, and Uduk, are all represented on these pages of awesome concept art for the Bone monsters. In terms of Bone Island itself, fairly early on, we had some great artwork that just ended up being sort of tweaked along the way, but we pretty much nailed that design right away of the sort of look and feel of the different sort of fossil deposits and the sort of subterranean vegetation that we wanted, and the different faceted crystals all around. So that was we came up with the concept for that island in short time, but of course it took a lot of time for our talented artists to render it in its fully realized glorious form that you see in game.
Very good. Well, on a similar note, at Craft2 asks, how long did this island take to complete?
Every island in My Singing Monsters is a several months long process, all the way from composition through to the design, the decision, what sort of element we want, and that sort of influences the design. And there's lots of scrapped designs that don't end up making their way into the game, and lots of different forms that a given monster might take based on the sound that has been created for it. Then, of course, there's the process of painting up those characters and the island, and it actually takes quite a long time to program it in, because it's important for us to try and make sure that different combinations of monsters on the island still create the song of Bone Island. And several keen-eared players noted that the castle was misbehaving when version 239 launched yesterday. We told it to smarten up, and thankfully our talented sound team and programmers were able to sort of set it on the correct path to make sure that it was playing its part on Bone Island. So it takes several months. We've been working on Bone Island for a while, and actually, I'll reveal it. Way back earlier, one of the first episodes of 2020 of My Singing Monsters Live, I was speaking with a guest monster handler who's here on the show, and I was mentioning to her that I was very excited about the work that she was doing and couldn't wait to be released. That was actually Bone Island that we were working on all the way back in January. So it takes a long time for these things to come to light, but once they do, they are beautiful. They are beautiful.
Very nice. Ooh, okay. This is a good one. At Penguin Sauce 1 asks, how did the non-Firehaven monsters like Toejammer, Fangler, Fwog, and Thrumble make it to Bone Island?
That's an excellent question. Penguin Sauce, also a great username. once the location of Bone Island was sort of sussed out after Stogg sort of made a formal introduction to Clacula, and Clacula did the same. They became quick acquaintances. Once that sort of diplomatic relation had been set up, it didn't take very long to summon a delegation, I should say, of fire and natural monsters to come and sort of round out the Bone Island population. So how they got there, I think very carefully, because as we saw from the Bone Island reveal video, Stogg sort of went down the very fast way, which is just tumbling down. But luckily, Stoggs are very hardy creatures that can take that sort of rough and tumble treatment. So I think it took a little bit longer for the other monsters to make it down. Perhaps the construction of a very long rope ladder helped them sort of get down safely. But we do know that once the position of Bone Island was discovered deep underground, deeper than you even thought possible in the monster world, then the other monsters followed suit.
Living Person wants to know, where did all those bones from under Firehaven come from? And I'm curious, because I have my own theory.
I'd be interested to hear your theory, Eric, but my theory is that perhaps one of the sort of side effects of the Necral Titan's presence in the chamber that was previously Cave Island is that wherever it goes, there's sort of a magical following, and a boneyard sort of forms around the sort of edges of the Titan as it's sort of squatting, perched inside the cavern that used to be Cave Island. The other thing that we know is that certain monsters on Bone Island make a habit of collecting bones. I can think of the quad element Plinkaju as an example of one that sort of has a paleontological interest and likes to collect different fossil samples to learn more about the remains of what could possibly have been a prehistoric pool. That where Bone Island sits currently. So that's my theory. What's your theory?
Mine is a lot of games of fetch gone awry.
Oh, and that
all
is
sort
of
every time
there
they lost a bone, it's been piling up, and this is just the first time a Stogg was brave enough to dive after.
I think that's an equally valid theory.
Maybe it's a combination
of the two. Maybe the boneyard sort of comes about in concert with the other sort of fetch deposits. All right, let's get one more question in.
Okay, let me grab a good one here. What did the bone monsters look like throughout development? This is from Logan Peters, by the way. Were there any drastic changes to Bone Island itself? And actually, on a similar note, since I can combine these two, Sparky the dog adds, which concepts inspired which monsters?
Certainly, it was important for us, like I was saying during our concept art segment, to sort of use bones in ways that we hadn't necessarily seen them used before. I think one of the most interesting ones for us was Banjaw, because Banjaw actually began as a concept for what ended up becoming Ruba on Psychic Island. And at that point, rather than plucking its sort of principal tendon thing there, that its eyes are perched up on top, it sort of had a long, thin bone piece that it would saw across its neck. And that sort of made the Dilruba sound that Ruba ended up making on Psychic Island. So that was one that actually ended up being repurposed for Bone Island because we really liked the design of it. And of course, it went from being a long, thin piece that is sawed across its head to being plucked and its principal tendon bouncing back and forth. Several other monsters underwent a lot of different designs. One that I can think of that moved around a lot before it was sort of finalized was the Pechidna, the earth-bone hybrid. Very interesting monster because it's sort of a case of parallel evolution with the fire monster Woolabee. If there is an ancestor there, it's certainly a very, very ancient one because the unique habitat and elemental composition of Pechidna sort of separates it from Woolabee. Woolabee is air, cold, and fire, and the Pechidna is just bone and earth, so they don't actually share any elements in their composition. So a case of monsters sort of accomplishing the same thing. And of course, the unique thing about Pechidna is its very unusual vocalizations. A very unique monster, perhaps my favorite on Bone Island.
Very cool monster. Well, that's all of the quick questions, but we have one more kind of question to address.
Okay.
And that is called the Stump of the Week.
Oh, it's the Stump of the Week. So how Stump of the Week works is that the community sends in very difficult questions, very mind-boggling questions for me to try and answer. And I usually don't answer them correctly, but I like to give it a good old college try. So Eric, who is our submitter this week for the Stump of the Week?
Well, Explorer Monster has given us a very interesting format. It's a fill in the blank sentence as opposed to our usual single answer or mathematical question.
Sort of like a Mad Libs?
Except you could get them wrong.
Oh, rats.
Yeah, make it funny if you can't remember.
Or like filling out the blank spaces and watching a film in class. Oh, yeah, that stressed
exactly
me out. Okay, well, I'm prepared to do horribly, but I'll try it anyway. All right, lay it on me.
Fill in the blank. Personalities are more contrary than fire and ice. Blank versus blank. Blank versus blank. And blank versus blank.
I know that this is a reference to the Dencha's bio, the water bone hybrid. A very cute, interesting monster that always travels in pairs, sort of twins sort of situation. What is describing their diametrically opposite attitudes and dispositions. Okay, so personalities are more contrary than fire and ice. I'm going to say that it is. I know that one of them is. Okay, so here you go. I'm ready for them. So, personalities are more contrary than fire and ice. Good looking versus homely. Intelligent versus dim-witted. And happy versus sad. Is that it, Monster Handler Eric?
How about you could have been correct versus Stump, which you are.
I don't think I got any of them correct.
You were, I think you had the first letter right.
Really?
Yeah, so good for you.
Well, I'll take that as a major.
It was, in fact, Gabby versus Glum, Sanguine versus Stoic, and Bubbly versus Been There, Done That.
I should have leaned into the alliteration game. Monster and
you had that G in the good looking.
Monster and the Sydney's going to give me a talking to after that because, of course, she, the expert crafter of all of the research that is compiled by the monster handlers and then put into great poetic form in their bios in game. So I'm sure I'm in trouble with her for that, but hopefully she can forgive me.
You know what'll always cheer you up, Monster Handler Matt?
What?
Some Monsterpieces.
Oh, I love Monsterpieces. Michael, why don't you fire them up? Let's take a look. Okay, perfect. So,
first one.
Our first Monsterpiece from Carmelian05 is a very cute rendition of the Glubber Critter. Unnamed up until this point, but who knows? Maybe we'll try and find a designation for it in the future. But I see that this Monsterpiece is making excellent use of the newly uploaded backgrounds that are now part of our fan kit, and they can also be used as your teleconferencing backgrounds as well.
Maybe the critter is teleconferencing.
Oh, I would love that. Maybe because the Glubber Lagoon is sort of fixed in one place and Blabbit sort of travels around. Maybe it's teleconferencing with Blabbit. And as we know, bubbles have sort of interesting interdimensional sort of wormholey qualities in the monster world. Sort of how the Rare Rebro's special telescope works. Okay, next up from Rohepoch. Oh, a very cute. And here, you know what? If I'd been staring at this awesome monster piece of Dench's, maybe I would have been inspired to remember Sanguine versus Stoic and Bubbly versus Been There, Done That, and Gabby versus Glum. Oh, I got them. I got them this time, but there's an excellent interpretation of these two different attitudes here by Rohepoch. And you can really see the joy and the relative over-thatedness of the other one.
Also, very great job emphasizing the monstrous qualities of those teeth on top.
Oh, for
Cannot
sure.
be
yes.
overstated that the cute bottoms mixed with the very monstrous tops.
Yeah. Yes. Very well done. Next up, from S. Brixie, we have a very sweet interpretation of the Bone Quad Plinkaju. Very sweet. I love Plinkaju.
Glamorous.
Great monster. Do you know what sort of inspires the species name Plinkaju, Eric?
I don't, actually. This is one of the ones I did not recognize.
Well, I'm happy to inform you that S. Brixie has done a great job here of capturing the sort of kinkajou-like qualities. I don't know if you know what a kinkajou is. It's a mammal from South America that has a prehensile tail. The Plinkaju has a playhensile tail.
Yeah, that's right.
And its cuteness knows no bounds, as is seen here in this awesome Monsterpiece by S. Brixie. Well done, S. Brixie. Moving on to the next one from Abyssal. We have Uduk, a very scary Uduk here. This one's one of the grimmer designs, I think, from Bone Island. It's very cool. And Eric, I'm so excited to announce this. I believe that Uduk is the first monster species, at least in English, that begins with the letter U.
Ooh, cross another one off the list.
Yes, cross another one off the list. Very exciting. And you know what? It's just so exciting to see it spelled out. Ooh, and to see that letter U. Ooh, very exciting. I'm very pleased about that. Well done, Abyssal. And I love the quality of paper that you drew that Monsterpiece on too. Very cool. Works very well. Next up, from Butterslip 547. We have an excellent version of Wither. And you can see Wither's rather long nails, which can be used to pluck at the spines of the Lyrodicus rex, a species we believe is related in some form to the fiberglass model that is the Fossilosaurus. So who knows if there's a whole prehistoric race of fiberglass creatures running around there. But Wither certainly makes excellent use of it. And Wither, of course, sort of in its design meant to evoke a certain ethereal monster, as a spiritual connection with that ghostly ethereal monster, and definitely captured here in the sort of mischievous expression of Wither. Well done.
Very nice word mark as well.
Next up, from Deeply Unnerving. This picture is anything but unnerving. It's a very sweet image of the Hollow monster, taking a look at a cute little flower that it has plucked. Now, interestingly, Eric, you can see here that the Hollow, over the course of a very short amount of time, has had a lot of different head decorations.
That's right.
It's had leaves. It's had berries. You know what? Why don't we say right here and now that although the version that exists in game currently with its berries, sort of like hawthorn berries, the version in game is sort of the official one that will remain in game. That perhaps the different sprouting twig of the Hollow sort of costume or disguise that it wears can have all sorts of different coverings on it. And so this green leaf that you see here in Deeply Unnerving looks lovely. And next up, from Everton Thalma, we have an awesome Monsterpiece, again of Wither. Well done. And I love the texture of the hair of this Wither, and the sort of rather bleak background that it appears on as well. And you can see those long nails also in use. And next up, we have from Logan E, an excellent Monsterpiece of Clacula from Logan Ewer. Look at all those bones floating around in the background, and isn't Clacula quite the dapper figure? Isn't it lovely? Monster Hunter Michael, did we lose Eric?
We have temporarily lost him, but don't worry, he may be back.
Okay, well, I was wondering, because he usually has great insights to deliver about these great Monsterpieces. I'm sure he's observing them from afar. So
he went into the Prism Gate.
Oh, he went into the Prism Gate. Oh, there's too many Prism Gates open right now, so soon we'll have Prismatic Eric back out. That'll be exciting. I wonder what will be changed about him. Okay, an excellent Monsterpiece from Logan E. Moving on, hopefully we get Eric back in a second. from Spider Nichols. Here is an awesome monster piece of a rather spooky-looking Plinkaju with a couple of dentures perched on its back. I wonder if this ever happens on Bone Island. If as Plinkaju is leaping about all of the stalagmites and stalactites and cavern walls, if the dentures ever hitch a ride and sort of have sort of a magic school bus experience as Plinkaju takes them on a magical paleontological journey of discovery. Also, a very interesting and gross tongue emerging from the mouth of Plinkaju there. Oh, very unique, very interesting. And finally, here we have, from Vanilla, an exceptionally sweet monster piece of Pechidna. None of its birds are there on its back, sort of bolo-shaped spikes there, but maybe they're just all resting in a nearby Bone Island tree, because this Pechidna sort of reminds me of what a young Pechidna might look like, freshly hatched. Well done, Vanilla.
It's just...
All right, so it's just me. Monster Handler Eric. We hope to see you next week for episode, I believe, 75 of My Sing Monsters Live, but it's up to me to end this episode. So we've done, what have we done? We've done quick questions. We've done Stump of the Week. We've done Monsterpieces, which means it's time for us now to draw the winner of our giveaway. What is the winner of today's giveaway going to be winning? Well, I'm glad you asked, because it's finally time for us to reveal it. The winner of today's giveaway for episode 74 is going to be winning totally free their very own Glubber Lagoon Island Skin Pack. Very exciting. So that's the Glubber Lagoon Skin and 100 diamonds. Very exciting for them. So I'm going to be checking. Monster Handler Sydney, I believe, has collected our winner, and the winner is coming soon.
Matt, I've joined you. I'm here with you now. So
the update. Oh, Monster Handler Michael, there you are.
We're both
Hello.
here. It's great to see you.
Where are you? Where should I be looking?
I'm up to your top right. If you look to the top right, that's where I'm located. Hello.
Am I looking correctly?
You're looking correctly. I'm right here. I have on some dog
Monster
ears
Handler.
in honor of Stog, because he was very...
Isn't that nice? Eric is back. What
Hi,
an
everybody.
exciting conclusion.
We're all here now.
Leaving the show alone.
You know what? This is the sort of fun that you can expect in the work from home setup for My Sing Monsters Live. But you know what? We've been making it work, and we hope that you guys have been enjoying the show as we continue to broadcast. Cindy has collected the winner. So, Eric, now that you're back, can you please give me a drum roll? You came just in time.
Of course I can. There you go.
The winner of the Glubber Lagoon Island Skin Pack is Venom YT. Congratulations, Venom YT. So please send us your BBB ID /friend code in the chat, and Monster Handler Sydney will scoop it up. She'll deliver it to me, and then I will deliver you your brand new, totally free Glubber Lagoon Skin Pack. Congratulations.
Wow, that's amazing.
Isn't it amazing? So we're almost done today's episode. As we always like to conclude with a composer piece, and this composer piece must have been whipped up in record speed because Bone Island just came out yesterday, but this composed or arranged, I should say, by 10% MSM is a great version of Bone Island that makes use of different monsters than you hear on the island itself, but does an exceptional job of capturing the spirit, spirit of Bone Island. Thanks so much for joining us today for this episode of My Sing Monsters Live. We hope that you enjoyed it. Eric, so nice of you to join me again for the end of this episode. Sorry to lose you there for a second. Yes. Sorry to lose you there for a quick second at the end, but so glad that you're able to deliver this final address with me. So enjoy this composer piece. We'll see you next week during our regularly scheduled time on Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And until next time, happy monstering!